नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Welcome everyone. Hare Krishna. Another wonderful day, opportunity to study Srimad Bhagavatam, speak about Krishna, hear about him, and completely absorb our minds in Krishna Leela. So let's begin by chanting the verses of Canto 10, Chapter 8, Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam. Shri Shuka Uvacha Gargah Purohito Rajan Yadunam Sumahatapa Vrajam Jagamanandasya Vasudeva Prachoditah Tam Drishtva Paramapritaha Pratyuthaya Kritanjali Anarchadhokshajadhya Pranipata Purassaram Supavishtam Kritatithyam Gira Sondrataya Munim Nandayitva Bravid Brahman Purnasya Karavamakim महद्विचलनं नृणां गृहीणां दीनचेतसां निःश्रेयसाय भगवन् कल्पते नान्यथा क्वचित् ज्योतिषामयनं साक्षात् यत्तज्ज्ञानमतीन्द्रियं प्रणीतं भवता येन पुमान् वेदपरावरम् त्वं हि ब्रह्मविदां श्रेष्ठः संस्कारान् कर्तुमर्हसि बालयोरनयो नृणां जन्मना ब्राह्मणो गुरुः श्रीगर्ग उवाच यदूनामहमाचार्य ख्यातश्च भुवि सर्वदा मया संस्कृतं ते मन्यते देवकी सुतं कंसपापमतिसख्यं तव चानकदुन्धुवे देवक्या अष्टमो गर्भो न स्त्री भवितुमर्हति इति सञ्चिन्तयन् श्रुत्वा देवक्या दारिका वचः अपि हन्ता गता शङ्कस्तर्हि तन्नो मयो भवेत् श्रीनन्द उवाच अलक्षितोऽस्मिन् रहसि मामकैरपि गोव्रजे कुरु द्विजातिसंस्कारं स्वस्ति वाचनपूर्वकम् श्रीशुक उवाच एवं सम्प्रार्थितो विप्रस्वचिकीर्षितमेव तत् चकार नामकरणं गूढो रहसि बालयो श्रीगर्ग उवाच अयं हि रोहिणी पुत्रो रमयन् सुहृदो गुणैः आख्यास्यते राम इति बलाधिक्यात् बलं विदु यदूनामपृथग्भावात् सङ्कर्षणमुशन्त्यपि आसन्वर्णास्त्रयो ह्यस्य गृह्णतो नो युगं तनु शुक्लो रक्तस्तथा पीत इदानीं कृष्णदाङ्गत प्रागयं वसुदेवस्य क्वचिज्जातस्तवात्मज वासुदेव इति श्रीमान् अभिज्ञा सम्प्रचक्षते बहुनी सन्ति नामानि रूपाणि च सुतस्य ते गुणकर्माणुरूपाणि तान्यहं वेद नो जना एष वः श्रेय आधास्यत् गोपगोकुलनन्दन अनेन सर्वदुर्गाणि यूयम् अञ्जस्तरिष्यथ पुराणेन व्रजपते साधवो दस्युपीडिता अराजके रक्ष्यमाणा जिज्ञोर्दस्युन् समेधिता य एतस्मिन् महाभागा प्रीतिं कुर्वन्ति मानवा नारयोऽभिभवन्त्येतान् विष्णुपक्षान् इवासुराः तस्मान्नन्दात्मजोऽयं ते नारायणसमो गुणैः श्रिया कीर्त्यानुभावेन गोपायस्व समाहिता श्रीशुक उवाच इति आत्मानं समाधिश्य गर्गे च स्वगृहं गते नन्दप्रमुदितो मेने आत्मानं पूर्णमाशिषाम् अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Welcome everyone. Hare Krishna. We have been studying Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, and I think we completed and paused at verse 6 yesterday. Janmana Brahmano Guru. I will continue from verse 7 today. Shri Garga Uvacha Yaduna Mahamacharya Khyataschcha Bhuvi Sarvada Sutam Maya Samskritam Te Manyate Devaki Sutam. Srila Prabhupada's translation. Gargamuni said, My dear Nanda Maharaj, I am the priestly guide of the Yadu dynasty. This is known everywhere. Therefore, if I perform the purificatory process for your sons, Kamsa will consider them the sons of Devaki. Purport. Gargamuni indirectly disclosed that Krishna was the son of Devaki, not of Yashoda. Since Kamsa was already searching for Krishna, if the purificatory process were undertaken by Gargamuni, Kamsa might be informed, and that would create a catastrophe. It may be argued that although Gargamuni was the priest of the Yadu dynasty, Nanda Maharaj also belonged to that dynasty. Nanda Maharaj, however, was not acting as a Kshatriya. Therefore, Gargamuni said, if I act as your priest, this will confirm that Krishna is the son of Devaki. So yesterday, we paused at the point where Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's father, he has been desiring that Krishna should be named Krishna and Balaram should be named Balaram by a great soul. Gargācārya was sent by Vasudeva Maharaj from Mathura to Vrindavan. Gargācārya enters Vrindavan. Nanda Maharaj very respectfully, very affectionately welcomes him, serves him, and then begs him that you are the best among astrologers. In fact, you are the father of astrology. You are the one who's given the principles of astrology. O Gargācārya, by reading your work, by reading your teachings on astrology, your principles on astrology, any human being who studies them sincerely can become a good astrologer and predict past, present, and future very accurately. Jyotishamayanam sakshat yatta jnanam atindriyam. This is reviewing 5 and 6. O Gargācārya, this science of astrology is atindriyam. It is beyond our sense perception. It is beyond our reach. So therefore, if you can kindly read the charts of my child, Krishna and Balaram. Of course, for Nanda Maharaj, he knows that Gargācārya is free to say yes or no, but it is the duty of the Grihastha as the householder to make a request to a sadhu, but not be attached to it. One should not try to push a sadhu to do what we want them to do. We can, of course, very humbly put across our desire and then yathe chasi tatha kuru. It is your desire. O Gargācārya, you may do as you like. At this point, Gargācārya, he looks at Nanda Maharaj and he says, but astrology is after all a material science. Why are we even talking about it? How does it matter? Somebody, let's say, materially could be a carpenter, somebody could be a painter, somebody materially could be a doctor or an engineer. How does that matter on the basis of one's spiritual advancement? If somebody is serving in the temple, you can say this person is a fifth grade failed devotee and this person is a undergrad graduate devotee. We can say make distinctions like that, because if somebody is serving Krishna, that's it. How does their material qualifications have any any weight? So Gargācārya says, why are we talking about my astrological contributions regarding the principles of astrology? Nanda Maharaj says, no, tvam hi brahma vidam sreshtaha, verse 6. It's not just the fact that you're materially accomplished, spiritually, brahma vidam. You are the encyclopedia of spiritual wisdom. And shreshtaha, you're also first class in your personal practice. You are materially adept, you're spiritually scholarly, and in your personal practice, you're very simple and very sincere and straightforward and non-duplicitous. In fact, Bhagavatottama, you are the best among devotees. Therefore, samskaran kartumarhasi. Therefore, you are, in my opinion, Nanda Maharaj says, the best person who can bless my children with a wonderful devotional name and protect them. Please, I beg you. Nanda Maharaj's love for Krishna is so unparalleled that Krishna whose name protects the whole world, that Krishna whose form has been installed as deities in temples around the world, that Krishna whose leelas have flooded the ears and the hearts and the tongues of thousands and thousands of Vaishnavas. That Krishna, does he need protection? But Nanda Maharaj feels so. Nanda Maharaj in his Vatsalya Prem, in his parental mood, he wants to protect. Even when Krishna in Vrindavan would give so many reasons proving that he is actually God, the residents of Vrindavan would never believe that he's God. They would never believe. Krishna outside Vrindavan, he would give just half a reason, not even one reason, just half a reason, one half a reason. And then the audience is all on their knees offering prayers, and just Krishna enters the womb of Devaki, and you can see the devatas, the demigods are all offering prayers. He's not even displaying his opulence. He's just entering the womb. And in the second chapter of the 10th canto, the demigods, they're all offering prayers. But in Vrindavan, Krishna is holding a mountain on the tip of his fingers. In Vrindavan, he's sipping a forest fire not once but twice. In Vrindavan, he enters the mouth of a big deadly snake called Aghasur. In Vrindavan, he's wrapping himself, coiling himself, being embraced by the hoods of Kaliya. In Vrindavan, Krishna kills a mighty, powerful, humongous, tall bull, which is very strong and big and tall like a mountain peak. And Krishna proots that bull by his horns, and it's described by Shukdev Goswami. Krishna whips Arishtasur, the bull demon, like a washerman washes his wet clothes in India. In the Western world, of course, you wash clothes with washing machine and things like that, even in India now. But in traditional Vedic culture, found in India, uh, a washerman would collect all his clothes. He would wash his clothes with soap, and then he would hit those clothes, wet clothes, on a rock just to make sure that they get clean. He was the washing machine. He was the top loading, front loading, all of that. He was the washer, he was the dryer. So that's the example given. Krishna was like that washerman. He was washing off the anarthas of Arishtasur and using him like a wet cloth, whipping him on the hard rock on the floor of Vrindavan. Anyway, Krishna is giving so many reasons. He's strongest. He's the most powerful. He becomes big, humongous, like the mountain of Govardhan. It's same Krishna. Krishna becomes Govardhan. He takes a big form, bigger form of his own identity. And the Brajbasis are looking, and they look at him, and then they look at him. Doesn't he look like Krishna? Doesn't this doesn't this guy look like Krishna? But the Brajvasis love Krishna so much that even when Krishna shows universe in his mouth, they're only concerned about what will happen to his health. How will his digestion, how about his health, what will happen, what's in his mouth will go into his belly, he will become sick. This protective instinct kicks in with absolutely no awe and reverence. Of course, Vrindavan has more beauty, more opulence than the most opulent places. But the sweetness is so much more that it eclipses this opulence. An example can be given in this regard that if you take some few kilos or few pounds of salt and you throw it into the ocean water doesn't get saltier. Because what happens is, even if you throw in 100 pounds, 1,000 pounds of salt into the ocean, 1,000 kilos of salt into the ocean, doesn't matter. Because the ocean has so much more water that water will neutralize the salt. It doesn't matter. The volume of the water is much more than the volume of the salt that's thrown in. But even if, let's say, 1 kilo or 2 kilos of salt is thrown into this well water, into the well, you see immediately the well water becomes salty. because the quantity, of course, the well water is sweet, but the quantity is little. So if you throw in some salt, then that water becomes salty immediately. But as far as the ocean is concerned, the water is unlimited, insurmountable, beyond length, breadth, and depth. There's so much water. So how much ever salt we throw in, the water neutralizes it because the volume is more. So this is the example given that outside Sri Vrindavan Dham, in Mathura and Dwarka, the love is like well water. It is sweet, but the quantity is little. And any salt display of Krishna's opulence, that I am God, if Krishna displays that, then immediately that water becomes salty. They all start offering obeisances. They all start offering prayers. The sweet mood is gone. But in Vrindavan, the love that the residents of Vrindavan, like Nanda Maharaj in this case, have is like ocean water. Ocean water. There's so much love, so much ocean water in the example, so much love in Vrindavan that even if Krishna throws 100 times, he throws in salt gunny sacks of his opulence. That I am God. Look, there's universe in my mouth. Look, I can sip fire. Look, I can hold a mountain peak. That's all like throwing as much salt as possible. Still, the ocean neutralizes all of that because the volume of salt is insignificant in compared to the volume of water. Which means the volume of Krishna's opulence, the number of times Krishna shows opulence, is nothing compared to the depth, the breadth, the height, the width of the love that the residents of Vrindavan have for Krishna. That is the love, spontaneous love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give in this world. He wanted to spread that love, where one approaches God irrespective of whether he's God or no. Approaches Krishna out of genuine concern, out of genuine affection. You see, when you learn a new instrument, let's say, for example, you're learning a piano or you're learning a harmonium. Initially, you have to learn your scales, you have to learn different keys, and you have to take some lessons. If it's Hindustani classical, then you're learning the harmonium and you're singing, okay, whether it's Mandra Saptak or Madhya Saptak or Tar Saptak, and whether it is Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Dha Ni Sa Sa Ni Da Pa Ma Ga Re Sa, and different ragas also, depending on what kind of mood, whether it's a morning rag, whether it's an evening rag. So initially we learn all of this with different paltas and alankars. But that's not the purpose of the instrument. The purpose of the instrument is so that you learn these ragas and these keys so well that you're able to free flow play a song and forget those keys someday. Right? We are learning to play those keys so that someday we forget those keys. When someone's singing a song, your fingers go automatically without calculating whether this is, whether it's a minor scale or whether this is kafi thaat or whether this is komalga. We're not thinking of those things. We're just hearing, playing it by the ear, as they say. But that takes some practice. And this is how the process of bhakti is. Initially, we have to learn the keys that Krishna is God. God does exist. God has form. We can't be God. He always exists. He loves us beyond time, place, circumstance. Our relationship with Him is eternal. These are like keys. Then when we start serving, which means practicing, serving Krishna sincerely, then after some time, one comes to a point where one serves Krishna heart to heart with affection, spontaneously, without any prior calculation that He is God, without any prior calculation that I have an eternal relationship with Him, without any prior calculation that if I serve Him, all my material desires will be fulfilled, or I may be saved from hell, or my next birth will be nice, or I will be happy. None of these considerations. So this is the example that could be given. Initially, keys are learned, practiced, only later to hear the song and play it by the ear and forget those keys. Similarly, initially we learn that Krishna is God and we must bow down to Him. We must hear about His opulence. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada would always, while talking about Krishna, he would always say, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even the Krishna book, Prabhupada writes, the subtitle, Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is the Kṛṣṇa book. It is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead book. But the title still is Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we start off that yes, Kṛṣṇa is God, He is the Supreme Personality. But then later in serving Him, one gets so attracted to Krishna's form, gets attracted to Krishna's flute, gets attracted to Krishna's associates, gets attracted to the prospect of becoming one of his dear associates in the near future, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is forgotten. Then all that remains is the book is called the Kṛṣṇa book, the all attractive book. So just in that title, Prabhupada has taught us. Yes, we start off with Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only to later forget that He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And only remember that He is my all attractive, beautiful, the Lord of my life. Just for His pleasure, just to bring a smile on His face, the devotee exists. And in this mood, in this highest state, Nanda Maharaj wants to protect Kṛṣṇa. He wants all goodwill for Kṛṣṇa. He wants Kṛṣṇa to be happy. He wants Kṛṣṇa to be named. He wants Kṛṣṇa to be blessed by Gargācārya. So therefore, Tvam hi Brahma Vidam Shreshtha Samskaran Kartumarhasi. You have the power to perform samskaras. See how many tattvas are there between those words of Srimad Bhagavatam? How much can be fluffed out? How much can be discussed? This book is amazing. Srimad Bhagavatam is amazing. Srimad Bhagavatam is not to be read. Srimad Bhagavatam is not to be heard. Srimad Bhagavatam ultimately is to be drunk. It is an intoxicating beverage. It is to be drunk. So of course we start reading and hearing and remembering and praying and meditating. But this is the best thing that the ears, the tongue, the heart, the mind, the soul can taste. Balayor anayor nrunam janmana brahmano guru. Please perform the samskaras. Please perform the name-giving ceremony. For whom? Not for God, but Balayo Anayo. These two little beautiful babies, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. Please protect them. And when Gargācārya rebuttals that by saying, but shouldn't the Guru be the one who should be doing it? Nanda Baba says, but Janmana Brahmano Guru. We are Vaishyas, you are a Brahmana, you're knowledgeable, you're the source of astrology, you're the best devotee, you know all the rules, please do it. And Yadrichaya, by Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Hari's planning and his desire, his intervention, you have walked your way into our lives. So please help us. So Gargācārya now in verse 7 starts speaking. Shri Garga Uvacha Yadunam aham acharya kyatascha bhuvi sarvada sutam maya samskritam te manyate devaki sutam. In verse 7, 8 and 9, which go together, verse 7, 8 and 9 go together, Gargācārya is teaching us that one should never pull the trigger. One should never push the button quickly. When one is either pushed by impulses in the mind, thoughts, or asked for favors by people, we shouldn't immediately jump to do what we feel should be done or what people around us think we should do. We should always think through. Very important. Someone who is in tamogun, he will never act. He will never think, he will never act. Those in rajogun, before thinking they will act. Those in sattvagun, they will think before and then act properly. And those in vishuddha sattva, pure goodness, they will think through and act selflessly for the pleasure of God. So this is the way we can categorize consciousness. So here, Gargācārya, before acting, he's thinking through what would happen if I perform this ceremony for Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. What would happen? What are the pros? What are the cons? First point that Gargācārya says, he says, Yadunam aham acharya khyātascha bhuvi sarvada. First of all, he says, I am the acharya, I am the teacher, I am the guru of the Yadus, the Kshatriya dynasty. I am not the guru of the Vaishya dynasty. I am the guru of the Kshatriyas in Mathura. Question could be there, what is a Kshatriya priest doing in a cowherd community? They could ask, why is he here? Nanda Maharaj said, but nobody would see you here. You know? Even if you fear, well, somebody will see you. How does it matter? This is not Mathura. Gargācārya says, Kyatascha bhuvi sarvada. Nanda Baba, I may be the teacher of those in Mathura, but I am well known everywhere. Khyata means khyati, fame. My fame is sarvasyam, everywhere. Bhuvi sarvada. In all places and at all times, people know me. Somehow, by God's mercy, Gargācārya is saying, somehow by the Lord's intervention, He has invested His fame potency in me. So I am very famous. First of all, I am the priest, I am the teacher of those in Mathura, and I am found here. And if you say, well, people here are not those in Mathura, so why, how does it matter? Well, I am very well known. It is possible those in Vrindavan will know me. Because those in Vrindavan may go to Mathura, those in Mathura may sometimes come to Vrindavan, and people talk. This is village life. So everyone knows everyone. And especially everyone knows the teachers. Everyone knows the Guru. So Kyatascha bhuvi sarvada. If someone sees me, O Nanda, they will think, what is Vasudev's priest from Mathura doing in Vrindavan talking to Nanda Maharaj? And if you perform a big ceremony of Krishna's name-giving ceremony, if you perform a big procession, then sutam maya samskritam te. If everybody sees me giving name to your children, then manyate devaki sutam. Then very quickly, Kamsa can decipher that the one on your lap is Devaki's son. Nanda Maharaj is convinced that Krishna is his son, right? So when Gargācārya says, people will be convinced that Krishna is Devaki's son, Nanda Maharaj has frowning eyebrows. He's thinking, what has Gargācārya naming my child to do with Devaki? How does all of that fit into a puzzle? So Gargācārya continues to explain, Kamsaha papamati sakhyam tava chanak dundhube devakya ashtamo garbho nastri bhavitumarhati iti sanchaitayan shutva devakya darika vachaha api hanta gata shankas tarhi tanno nayo bhavet. Gargācārya is so wonderful. His thought process is so detailed. He's saying there are a few reasons that there are a few things we need to thoroughly think through. O Nanda Maharaj, first of all, Kamsa papamati. This is verse 8. Kamsa papamati. Papamati means someone who has sinful mentality. Someone who, like a pendulum, moves from being a gentleman to be a mental man, to be a gentleman, to be a mental man. He who acts good, then acts weird, then acts good, then acts weird. That is Kamsa, papamati. And at the same time, he's the one who is so cruel, so wicked that he can kill babies, newborn, innocent babies, by slamming them on a rock in a prison house in the presence of the child's parents. That's how cruel he is. He doesn't think twice before killing people. So Nanda Maharaj is thinking, okay, I get that. So how does it fall in place with the puzzle that we are solving? So Gargācārya says, Sakhyam tava cha Anakadundhuve. So Anakadundhuvi is a name for Vasudeva Maharaj. Anaka and Dundubhi are musical instruments. So when Vasudeva Maharaj appeared, when he was born to Shursen, the Devatas, they played the Dundubi. They had the drums and they had the trumpets, the bugles. Playing the drums and the trumpets, they were celebrating, finally, that great soul has arrived. He's taken birth. Which great soul? From whom Krishna will appear that Kṛṣṇa who will kill Kamsa. So when Vasudeva appeared, Anaka and Dundubi were played, instruments were played. Therefore, he got the name Anaka Dundubi. Sometimes even in our lives, you see, especially if you have some relative and you want to explain that relative to your child or your friend, you will say, "You remember that uncle?" And the child will say, "Which uncle?" "That uncle who always wears a cap. You remember that uncle?" "Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that uncle." So that cap has nothing to do with the uncle, but that's just a way of remembering and telling the child, "Oh, that relative in our family who always wears a cap or always wears a hat." Similarly, Vasudeva Maharaj got the name Anakadunduvi, musical instruments. But what has that to do with his name? Well, he was named musical instruments because when he appeared in this world, the celestial beings, the devatas, the demigods, they played those instruments, welcoming him into this world. Finally, the Father of God has appeared, that Sri Krishna's father, that Krishna who will kill Kamsa in the future. So here, first of all, Kamsa is a wicked person, says Gargācārya. And second point that Gargācārya puts forth is Sakhyam Tava Cha Anakadundubhe. Everybody knows that you and Vasudeva are best friends. Now, Nanda and Vasudeva are not just best friends, they're also brothers. There was a great king by the name Devamidha, and Devamidha, in his descendants, if you see, one side has Nanda Maharaj and one side has Vasudeva. It is described that Devamidha had a Kshatriyani wife and a Brahmani wife. There was a Brahmani whom he married, and then there was a Kshatriyani whom he married. And then in that descendant line, through his two wives, from the Kshatriya wife, he gave birth to Sursen. From Sursen came Vasudeva, and from Vasudeva came Kṛṣṇa. So from the Kshatriya line came Sursen, and from Sursen came Vasudeva, and from Vasudeva came Kṛṣṇa. And from the Vaishya line, Vaishya wife, came Parjanya Maharaj. From Parjanya Maharaj came Nanda Maharaj, and from Nanda Maharaj came Kṛṣṇa. So this is the history lineage of Vasudeva and Nanda Maharaj. Devamidha Raja had a Vaishya wife and a Kshatriya wife. From the Kshatriya wife came Sursen. From Sursen came Vasudeva. From Vasudeva came Kṛṣṇa. And from the Vaishya wife came Parjanya Maharaj. From Parjanya Maharaj came Nanda Maharaj. And from Nanda Maharaj came Kṛṣṇa. Two Krishnas. Vasudeva Kṛṣṇa or Vasudev and Nandanandan Kṛṣṇa in Vrindavan. So these are the two lines in the same dynasty, in the same family. So Nanda and Vasudeva are not just Sakhyam, are not just friends, they're also brothers. So Gargācārya is saying that Kamsa is a cruel person. You and Vasudeva are brothers and best friends. And third point, I am the priest for Vasudeva in Mathura, and I am famous, and I am coming here and performing the name-giving ceremony and the samskars for your son, O Nanda. Third point. And fourth point, Devakya Ashtamo Garbho Nastri Bhavitum Arhati. The eighth child of Devaki. When she appeared, which Kamsa thought was the main killer, he flung her in the air, and it was not a he, it was a she, and she became Durga. And she said, the person, O Kamsa, you're looking for, who's going to kill you, is not me. He's already taken birth somewhere else. So he realized, Kamsa realized one thing, that the eighth child cannot be a girl. Because this girl in the prison house appeared and she said, he has already taken birth somewhere. It's not me, it's him, and he's somewhere. So first point, let's put it together so that we're all on the same page. First point, Gargācārya says, I am the priest of Vasudeva, and I live in Mathura, and I am famous everywhere, even in Vrindavan. Point number two, the king of Mathura, that is Kamsa, he is cruel. He is waiting for an opportunity to commit heinous acts. 3, Nanda, you and Vasudev are best friends and brothers. And 4, that Kamsa who is searching for the 8th child, he realized that Devakya Ashtamo Garbha na stri. It is not a stri, it is not a girl. How did he realize that? Sanchintayan Shrutva, because he heard it directly, Devakya Darika Vachaha. He heard it. Darika Vachaha means words and Darika means daughter. He heard it straight from the daughter of Devaki. So this is all news to Nanda Maharaj, because Nanda Maharaj sitting in Vrindavan, he has no idea that the girl in the prison house told Kamsa, had a conversation that the person who's going to be your death has already appeared somewhere. Nanda Maharaj doesn't know. We know in the Kṛṣṇa book, of course. And Vasudev knows, Kamsa knows, but Nanda Maharaj doesn't. So this is all news for him. Gargācārya says, that girl appeared to Kamsa and said, it's not me, it's him, and he's appeared somewhere. And then Gargācārya says, and you perform a big ceremony here, let's say, for the name-giving ceremony of your child, and that your child is given name by a priest from Mathura, when that person in Mathura, Vasudev, his child is gone missing because it's predicted by the 8th child that he's born somewhere else, and your best friends and brother, and Kamsa is looking for an opportunity with a wicked mind. Look how Gargācārya is putting those points together one after another. And by saying this, he says, Api Hanta. The word Hanta comes from Hantru, which means to kill. Hanyate, to kill. So that Hanta, that killer, referring to Kamsa, Gatashanka or Agatashanka. In 2 ways we can split this word. Api Hanta Gatashanka, that line you can split it grammatically either as Hanta Gatashanka or Agatashanka. Because if you say Hanta plus Agata, it still becomes Hantagata. Or if you say Hanta plus Gata, it still is Hantagata. Right? So what is the difference? The word Gata means to go. And Shanka or Ashanka means suspicion. So till now, Kamsa is suspicious. Maybe the son of Nanda is actually the son of Vasudev. That suspicion is there. And by we making this whole plan of name-giving ceremony of Kṛṣṇa in Vrindavan, that suspicion, Gata, will go away and he will be convinced. He will be convinced. Yes, till now it was only a thought in my mind, but now I am convinced the 2 fathers actually have that son in the middle. Vasudev's son is Nanda's son. So that is Gata Shanka. All the doubts are gone, which means he's convinced. Or Agata Shanka, Agata means to come. Till now, Kamsa is peaceful. But now that doubt comes in his mind, oh, maybe the one who's being protected by Gargācārya in Vrindavan, maybe he is Vasudev's son. So either there's no doubt and a doubt is put in his mind, or there is a doubt and the doubt is removed and he's convinced. So both have been explained by Srila Sanatana Goswami in his wonderful Tika. How can we pay off the debt to these great souls? Srila Sanatana Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Sri Rup Goswami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they have spent time sitting in Vrindavan explaining Srimad Bhagavatam word by word, verse by verse. How amazing, how phenomenal is that? And then Gargācārya says, Tarhi tanno anayo bhaved. If we still proceed, O Nanda, in doing this name-giving ceremony, I think Kamsa will take on you, Kamsa will take on me, Kamsa will take on Vasudev, and most importantly, on your child. Because Kamsa will know exactly where the kid is. And this is why in the previous verse in 7, Sutam maya sanskritam te, if I still go ahead and do the name-giving ceremony, then manyate devaki sutam. Kamsa will be convinced that this child is not yours, but actually the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. Phenomenal? Quite intelligent. So wonderful. Gargācārya is logically putting things. This is teaching us this principle that don't jump to conclusion, don't jump to act. Just because we hear someone has said something about us, we don't have to respond immediately and start shooting and fighting on social media. And if somebody puts a post, now we start a comment and a thread, and then they start tagging someone else. This is not our goal. And that could be on emails, that could be on WhatsApp. It's always nice, whenever we are agitated, it's always nice to respond tomorrow. Let it pass. Let it pass for today. Because our mind will say, let me pull the trigger, let me push the button, let me tell them what I feel. And invariably, we are acting on impulse. We are acting on an impure, contaminated mind. Srila Prabhupada would explain this so beautifully. He would say, if you throw a pebble into a pond, you'll see that the pond is agitated and there are ripples all over. And in such a rippled surface, when you look into the pond, you can see the fishes. You can see things as they are when the surface is agitated. How amazing, how poetic is that? And Srila Prabhupada said, so the best course of action is, let it pass. Let it settle. Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter where he said, when your mind is agitated, it is like a pond with ripples on the surface. You can see the swimming fishes, you can see circumstance as they are. So the best thing to do is sit on the banks of that pond and chant Hare Krishna. And let the ripples settle. When they settle, when you look in, we can still see things as they are. Which means, when we are agitated, let it pass. Don't respond. Pray to Krishna. My Guru Maharaj would repeat something that he heard Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, the famous Indian freedom fighter, say. He heard it through not directly from Gandhi, but heard it through people who heard it from him, or maybe read it in a biography, where Gandhi would say that if you're angry, fill your mouth with water. Which means don't speak. Because when we are angry, we want to speak, we want to respond. So if you fill your mouth with water, now if you speak, the water will spill out. So that's not that we literally have to do it, but that's a way to say that don't respond when you're angry. Think through all the time, positives and negatives. And this is good. This is very good practice. What Gargācārya is teaching us, we all should learn this for anything, whether it's starting business, whether it's buying a new home, whether it's buying a new car, whether it's getting married, for everything. All decisions, career decisions, options, write it. On a piece of paper, 2 sides, pros and cons. Write everything down. If I do this, what will be the capital investment? How will my life change? What will my lifestyle be? How hard will I have to work? What will be the implication on my health? How will my spiritual sadhana get affected? If it's going to be, let's say, then on the other side, okay, but this is only going to be for 2 weeks and then I will get back to schedule or something like that. So then weigh it out. And if you think you still need more time, take more time. This is Gargācārya's teaching. But never do something that will compromise, jeopardize our Krishna consciousness. Anything that will bring in harm to Krishna. Gargācārya is protecting Krishna here. Kamsa should not find Krishna. And Krishna for us is Krishna consciousness. Anything that is going to attack bhakti in our heart, think through and don't jump to it. So Nanda Baba now responds in verse 10. Alakshitosmin rahasi mamakairapi govraje. For those who have just joined in, this is Canto 10, Chapter 8, Srimad Bhagavatam, verse 10. Alakshitosmin rahasi mamakairapi govraje kuru dvijati samskaram swasti vachana purvakam. So Nanda Maharaj responds by saying, I see what you're saying, O Garga. So my friendship with Vasudev Maharaj, my brotherhood with Vasudev Maharaj, okay, that is, I agree. Regarding what the girl child has said, oh, I didn't know about it. Regarding what Kamsa's mindset is, yes, I do know about it. But regarding the point that people will get to know, then Kamsa will get to know, people will talk, I have a way to play around this situation. He says, Nanda Maharaj says, alakshita. The word alakshita in Sanskrit, the first word of this verse, alakshita means in a hidden place. Lakshita, without public view. Let's do it in private. Just you, me, and the two babies, Nanda Baba is saying. We will not have a big festival, I promise. And what to speak of big festival, we will do it in such a way, second line, Mamakair api. I will not even call my own family. I will not even call Rohini Devi and Yashoda Rani. Because it is possible the Matajis have friends, and in joy the mother may speak and tell other the mother may tell her friends, don't tell anybody, by the way, today my child got a name by Gargācārya. Gargācārya from Mathura, he happened to come in. So it's possible by word of mouth, because mother's heart is mother's heart. The joy for any milestone in her child's life, she will happily share. And then it'll go around in a circle that, okay, don't tell anybody, but I heard from Yashoda that her son has been named Kṛṣṇa by Gargācārya. And then that Mataji will say, don't tell anybody, I got to know from the neighbor of Yashoda Devi that Kṛṣṇa has been named Kṛṣṇa by Gargācārya. And in this way, everybody will get to know. So Nanda Baba says, Mama Kairapi, I promise you, nobody from my family will come. It's just you, O Garga, you will not tell anyone. It is me, I promise I will not tell anyone. And these two babies, they will have no idea what is happening. So definitely they will not tell anyone. And go vraje, rahasi go vraje. So 4 words have been used. Alakshita, rahasi, mamakairapi, and go vraje. So go vraja means in a cowshed. Cowshed. Nanda Baba is saying, we will not even do it in our home. Because in our home, there may be servants who may see. There may be some passerbys who may look from outside the window. It's possible somebody, in India there's a saying, Diwaro ki bhi kaan hote hain, which means even if you do it within closed doors, it's possible the walls may be watching. Which means there's always somebody who may see or hear things, even if we think nobody has watched or nobody knows. So Gargācārya says, go vraje. First of all, we'll do it in the cowshed. Right? The cows are all gone grazing. Only some calves will be there. They will not open their mouth. The two babies, Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, they will not know what is happening. By the time they grow up, they will not even remember that they were given this name by Gargācārya. I will just tell them I named them. I will not tell anybody. Gargācārya, you will not tell anybody. So go vraje, we'll do it in the cowshed. And Mama Kairapi, I will not invite my family. Nobody will know about it. Third, Rahasi, we will do it in hiding. Even in that cowshed, we will not do it ahead. I will take you inside somewhere deep into the cowshed. So even if someone enters the cowshed accidentally, they will not get to where we are. And that too, alakshita. We will do it in a hidden way, which means you don't have to do even detailed processes. You don't have to do a fire sacrifice. You don't have to keep different articles. We will do it very quickly, indirectly, in the hiding, in the place where there are no cows, deep into the cowshed, without my family members. How about that? Because Nanda Baba really wants Kṛṣṇa to have a name, Balaram to have a name by this great Acharya, Gargācārya. And when Gargācārya responds to that by saying, but Nanda Baba, it's still going to take some time. It's not that we go there and we can leave in 5 or 10 minutes. It's going to take time because there are so many samskars. Now, I want all of you to just for a second move to verse 6. Compare verse 6 to verse 10. Verse 6 and verse 10. Compare them. Now, in verse 6, you see the word samskaran. Do we see that? samskaran. And in verse 10, we see samskaram. So samskaran is the plural usage, and samskaram is the singular usage, which means in verse 6, Nanda Baba tells Gargācārya, please do it in great detail. Do all the requirements that you have to. Do all the steps. And in verse 10, he tones it down in the singular usage by saying, okay, you don't have to do the detailed processes. Just do one important thing. You just name them. Everything else, we will take care. Swasti Vachana Purvakam. You just give a heads up. You name the babies and you just tell us how we can continue, what type of achaman we should do, and how I should touch the parts of the body for the child. And I will put the tilak and I will take care of everything. You just give the name, you hold them in your lap, you pray for them. That's it. Then you continue. Samskaram. Kuru Dvijati Samskaram. At this point, Sri Shukdev Goswami continues. Verse 11. Sri Shukha Uvacha. Evam samprarthito vipra swachikirshitamev tat chakara namakaranam gudo rahasi balayo. Shukdev Goswami says, in this way, when Gargācārya was requested, evam samprarthita. Samprarthita means beseeched, begged, prayed for, really requested. In this way, when Gargācārya Vipraha was begged and requested by Nanda, Chakara Namakaranam, he agreed to do the name-giving ceremony. Now it's interesting. The second line says, Swa Chikirshitam Evatat. Swa Chikirshitam means it was Gargācārya's own desire too. Gargācārya came there because he wanted to name Kṛṣṇa. One, it was his own desire. Two, Vasudeva had sent him, Vasudeva Prachoditaha. But Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Gargācārya was acting as if he was not interested, or that he's going to deny, or it's very difficult, I don't think we should be doing this. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that Gargācārya was acting as if he doesn't want to do it, only to increase the enthusiasm, the eagerness, and the curiosity of Nanda Maharaj. He wanted Nanda Maharaj, the pot of Nanda Maharaj's eagerness to boil and brim on the surface. So therefore he was saying, but I think people will get to know, I think we should not do this. So he was playing hard to get. He was saying, no, I don't think we should do this. Oh, he actually wanted to do it. So Shukdev Goswami says, Evam samprarthita vipraha. Garga was requested by Nanda, and swachikirshhitam evatat. Actually, he himself was yearning and longing to hold Kṛṣṇa in his lap and do this service. And chakara namakaranam. In this way, he started the process. Gudho rahasi balayoho. Guda, in a hidden way. Rahasi, in a hidden place. Balayo, for both his children, for Kṛṣṇa and Balaram. Now it's quite interesting. Quite interesting. Sri Kavi Karnapur, in this section he writes that as soon as the two babies, one after another, were held in the lap by Gargācārya, Gargācārya holds Balaram first in one hand, he holds Kṛṣṇa in the other. And both these babies are looking and smiling. Swamiji, dear Guruji, what are you going to do to us? And at that point, Sri Kavi Karnapur very brilliantly describes that Padau dadami yadi mam vadito janoyam unmattameva bata vakshasi chet karomi tachati chapalam aho na karomi vached outkantham eva hi lavishyati dhairya bandham. Gargācārya's thought process has been explained so wonderfully. Gargācārya is saying, what should I do with them? I feel like offering my obeisances to their lotus feet, Gargācārya is thinking. Pado yadi. If I hold their feet and offer obeisances, then everybody will think I am mad. What is this great sadhu offering obeisances to these two newborn babies? And then at the same time, if I pick them up and embrace them to my heart, Gargācārya is thinking, then they will think, what kind of a sadhu is this? Maybe he should have been a grihastha. Maybe he should have been a householder like us. Because sadhus are expected to be not heartless, but self-controlled. So if there is a sannyasi, a very detached person in this world, he's playing with babies and holding them, walking around, then the grihasthas may think, oh, maybe he should have become a father. Maybe he is ati chapalam, maybe he's too restless for a sadhu. And at the same time, as a sadhu, if I offer obeisances to babies, then people, Nanda Baba will think, this sadhu, I think he's gone crazy. Why is he offering obeisances to my babies? Sri Kavi Karnapur writes, Gargācārya was caught in the tension between these two duties. Should I embrace these two babies and break my gravity? Or should I offer my obeisances and be considered mad? And not knowing what to do, Gargācārya goes through anxiety. But he decides. What he decides, we will see tomorrow. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Gargācārya ki jai, Shri Shri Kṛṣṇa Balaram ki jai, Shri Nanda Yashoda ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.